Hey everyone, and welcome to the Voyager Roundtable. Here today, I'm joined by DJ Crypto, Digital Doji, and special guest Alex Mascioli to talk all about Voyager, VGX, the platform, the stock, the token, and everything in between. So if you end up enjoying this, please make sure to subscribe and check out all the links down below in the description to Trade the Chain, DJ Crypto's YouTube channel, and with that out of the way, Alex, thank you so much for coming on. And guys, how you doing?
Doing great, man. Thank you for having me. I feel like I'm in front of all my heroes for the first time. So this is awesome, dude.
We usually start off with a big group hug. Right here.
Yeah, I can't do it online. So, this is the first Voyager Roundtable here on the Finance channel. So, maybe Alex, start us off. Who are you? What do you do? What's your relationship with Voyager?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still figuring that out. But no, I come from the traditional finance world, the hedge funds in New York, and I switched over to institutional cryptocurrency and digital assets beginning in 2017 as a career. And my last gig was before I left it during my founding of Trade the Chain. I oversaw about $25 billion a month in institutional crypto trading for the largest prime broker in the world. And I founded Trade the Chain for retail folks who are traders and investors. And lucky for myself, it's taken off and we have a great team over there. And I've been friends with Steve for quite some time. And so from the traditional world. And so that's how my relationship with Voyager is. He's one of the most solid people in the business. And, that's what makes us friends.
That's great to hear. And I don't know, DJ, Doji, whoever wants to go first.
Doji.
All right. Digital Doji, you probably know me on Twitter. If not, follow me at Digital Doji. I tweet about crypto, VGX, Bitcoin, everything in between. Right now, I'm pretty upset about how the Olympics seems to be paywalled on all the finals events.
Saw your tweet on that, man.
I vented about that today. I still can't figure out what Peacock is. But I produce a weekly rate sheet every Tuesday and beginning of the month, about 70 total crypto assets, best interest rates across the industry. The most recent one went live today. And then I also do the Daily Doji every morning. I just started that a couple weeks ago. It's been a lot of fun. I got a 9 o'clock bedtime tonight, so it won't take too much time. I got to wake up early and do the Doji.
I just signed up for it too, by the way, man. I think that's an awesome resource for everybody in crypto.
Awesome. Just so you know, MailChimp actually cut me off. That's why the emails aren't going out yet. So if you see my tweet in the morning, it comes out about 7 a.m. and you'll have the link there. Still trying to figure out a email subscriber service that'll allow me to send crypto emails out. So
we'll get you sorted, man. I got something for you.
All right.
Nice. Yeah, I'm DJ Crypto. I have buy the dip, sell the tip on the YouTube, and then I tweet more than anybody you know. So if I have a thought that comes to my head, whether it's good or bad, it's probably going to be tweeted. But I just love interacting with the crypto community, whether it's some of my heroes, whether it's trolls, whether it's the ultra conservative people that make me very upset with their VGX predictions, whatever. I love interacting with everybody. But I love talking about Voyager. That was the first platform that got me back into crypto last December and January of this year. So I just love talking about it.
I got to ask you, I don't mean to interrupt here, but are you really a DJ in real life from those tunes?
I am not. I'm probably the least musical person here, but my name initials are DJ. And so it's actually an ironic joke that it's my face on that DJ picture that a friend of mine just put together like in 5 minutes. And honestly, I'm just mad that there's so many DJ cryptos out there. And when I looked at doing YouTube, none of them had like 100 subscribers. And now a bunch of them have like many subscribers. I'm like, Man, those guys are ripping me off. But I had to do DJ Crypto _ on Twitter because I didn't even use Twitter before crypto. So I'm green at everything.
Yeah.
I may have to get into it though. I've written a couple songs, but other than that, that's my experience.
There may be other DJ Cryptos, but you're the DJ Crypto.
The DJ Crypto, that's right.
All right, so we're all supporters of Voyager. Here to talk about it. If you find some value along the way, that's great. One thing I want to touch on first, obviously Sunday night was crazy. Cryptos went up in a massive way, and Voyager experienced a short outage. So I don't know, DJ. Steve was actually on your show. Could you maybe kind of go through, what he said about that situation, and maybe we'll all give our thoughts on, how this impacts Voyager.
Yeah, he hopped on live stream last night. We had Round the X on, and he hopped on, and about I think it's the 34-minute mark is when he starts addressing it, and basically said they were working on coding behind the scenes. The crypto market had been down for a while, so no one was expecting a 3x in volume in 10 minutes. And with that happening at the same time, it caused a system failure. And so obviously they're working behind the scenes with their priority of the token swap in the portal and making that go live any moment now or any day now. And so with that going on, that's what happens. So I think it was out for 3 hours and back on. I have my opinions about it, but that's what he said about it.
What do you think, Alex or, Digital Doji? How do you think this maybe impacts Voyager? Is it something that's repetitive? Maybe will happen moving forward? I don't know.
I'll jump in here. Yeah. At first, it's one of those things where you get upset about it, and then afterwards, you wake up the next morning. It's a nothing burger to me, honestly. 99% of the users, I would say, didn't even know it happened. It was late Sunday night. And I compare it to banking, right? Like your banking app goes out all the time, but you don't know it because you're not staring at it 24/7. It's hard to keep an app running with no downtime. These things are going to happen in cryptocurrency. It's unfortunate, but most likely nobody was financially impacted by that. The market was hot at the moment. So if anything, prevented you from FOMOing in. So that's my take.
They saved some people.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's interesting because, from the time the app went down to when it went back up, crypto actually stayed flat. So, there's also that.
Steve has the power to pause the market for a minute. I mean, listen, the guy is, I don't know. I say it nonchalantly. I guess maybe I just have more insight into his day-to-day or something like that. But, it's coming from perspective of running a company and doing what he does. There's so many different nuances and moving parts that are happening all the time. And crypto moves faster than people do when these things happen. When the market starts running, everybody is running around trying to either do marketing or fix systems, or maybe they're in the middle of an upgrade, and this is really not the opportune time for Bitcoin to be going up 20%. So there's a whole lot of variables, but bottom line is it's a busy system. They're a brokerage. And for everyday people, it's okay. And you can say this to Steve and let Steve know that it's okay to have backups, right? And that's what everybody should do. Always have redundancy plans for themselves. But in the meantime, the size of the scaling that Voyager is doing, and private conversations that I have with him on stressful days is truly amazing. I mean, their workforce has X'd more than StormX did in March. Okay, I mean it's amazing.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I want to point out, when you look at Twitter, the loudest voices are always the most negative ones. There's a few people that just stand out, and when you really look at it from the grand scheme of things, it's a very small portion of Voyager's total user base that's out there commenting on Twitter. When you really think about it, millions of verified users and 10, even 100 people talking about on Twitter. That's such a small portion. So you really kind of have to put it into perspective.
Yeah.
All right, so I got a little rant about it. Can I do a little rant?
Feel free.
All right. So I interact some on the Facebook group. I interact some on the Reddit, which is definitely my least favorite because of so many people are on there like so negative and just flat out rude about it. Like they don't want to talk. They just want to whatever. And then Twitter, obviously you can hear from anybody at any time, and that's a lot more interactive. So that's usually where I spend more of my time, and it's easier. But from all of those sources and personal friends too, a few of those, it's like, okay, it went down. If you're saying that you were going to sell Bitcoin and you're mad that it crashed, okay, it went higher later. If you're mad because you were going to buy on the way up, okay, it dipped right after. You had the exact same opportunity after the system failure as you did during the entire system failure process. The other thing is, if you're so mad and you're going to say, I'm going to withdraw my funds off of Voyager, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? Are you going to take it to an app that costs so much more to buy and sell and trade and transfer? Are you going to send it to somewhere where you can't move it off for 90 days? Are you going to send it off somewhere that's not based in the United States? You've never seen who runs the company. You've never talked to who runs the company. Like, what are you going to do? What's the alternative? But it's simply, you have to know who you're investing with, which we follow Steve and Alex and Doji. I know you've met him. Alex, you know him well. It's like as if people are thinking that he's lying to us about why this is happening or keeping something from us and don't believe what he has to say. And it's like, when has that ever been the case of who Steve is on any other issue? And if you really think that's who he is, why are you on Voyager in the first place? It's literally the best place to buy and the best place to hold cryptocurrency. If you are that impulsive of a trader, that's what an exchange is for. Just go straight to the source. Go to Binance, where the futures of Bitcoin ran up to 48,000, and be mad at Steve about it because he protected your funds, because you would have got your butt ripped off if you had connected straight into Binance, which is their largest source. The futures went up to 48,000, and he protected you from that, of overbuying what the Bitcoin was actually worth. But all right, I'm
DJ,
Amen, brother. Amen.
Yeah, DJ, on Binance's point, I just saw a tweet go out this evening about Binance, actually, where they're limiting withdrawal features or limits on withdrawals for new customers and existing customers. So I'm curious to see what impact that'll have in the next few days. People scrambling out who are using VPNs on Binance app to access the app, if they're going to scramble out and try to find a Voyager or somewhere else where they can stash their money before the withdrawal limit, I think, goes down to 0.06 Bitcoin, which, that's like $2,000, $2,500. That's not a lot of money daily. So I'm keeping an eye on that. I believe the cutoff for current users is the 4th of August. So it's not a lot of time for people who aren't fully verified to get their funds off of that platform. I don't know if you guys saw that as well, but interesting news.
Yeah, it's super interesting. And I think those problems are only going to get amplified as time goes on. It's not going to get better. And I think that, as far as Voyager and how that may affect it, I think they're EU regulated entity. And once they finally get into the EU via their French acquisition, we're going to see a lot of people not have to do that anymore. The rules are slightly different. I think there's going to be a lot more token listings. And so a lot more opportunity. And that's the only reason people flock to Binance to begin with. So hopefully all that stuff comes back home, right?
At the end of the day, Binance cut corners, right? They didn't do things right. And that's one thing I like about Voyager. When they do something, they get it done right. They do the right things. They go past all the, go through all the regulations and proper things that need to get done. in order not to have a Binance situation where it's now getting banned in so many countries. They put so much work into acquiring so many users, and now all of a sudden, bam, it's dissipating. So that's something I like about Voyager, and hopefully they continue doing that moving forward.
Did you guys look into the margin trade? I mean, the margin changes? I think I blipped out. What did you say, Alex?
No, I just interrupted you. You didn't blip out. I blipped you out. I'm sorry.
So Steve controls the markets and you control the internet. But did you see the Binance changing or lowering their margins? They were at like 100x margins, and now they have to go down to like 10 or 20 or something. But Alex, is that an equity or a liquidity problem? Because that seemed to be what caused the issue last night or 2 nights ago.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting point. And if anybody missed it, this past weekend there was an interesting article, an expose on FTX in New York Times. And if you don't have a subscription to New York Times, because Digital Doji and his hate against paywalls, they have a paywall, and so find somebody who doesn't steal the article. But within that article, it talks about FTX and margin trading. Goes on to talk about BitMEX and 100x, and it goes on to talk about Binance and 125x that they offer in leverage. And Binance and CZ is quoted in that article and saying, "Listen, you're going to leverage trade, you're going to get wrecked." I mean, that's straight from the horse's mouth, and it's what we all warn people about all the time. Unless you're sophisticated enough or you have plenty of money to flush down the toilet, be prepared for a loss that's going to be inevitably very, very big. It was positioned from those guys that they would bring leverage down maybe to 10x as market practice. And I think that's probably the smart way to go, because there's too many people in this space that have no idea what they're doing with 100x leverage.
Yeah, for sure. So, next thing I kind of want to cover here, and we actually got a super chat relating to this. I know there were some tweets about it. We have the VGX token swap coming up and the Voyager loyalty program. And, within the VGX token swap, it's obviously the positive of the loyalty program coming out. But then you have the negative of a lot of dilution coming in at a, very quick pace, rather, going from, I believe it's just over 200 million tokens to, potentially closer to 300 million because of that token swap. So do you guys think the loyalty program or the benefits from that will overpower the negatives of dilution? What do you think is going to happen from that kind of perspective?
I talk too much, so I'm letting somebody else speak.
Doji got it.
I've got an opinion on this. I think they're two totally separate events. So the swap is one event, and then the VLP is a totally separate event that should have a different impact on price. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with price, but I think there's bullish, neutral, and bearish outcomes with this swap that could happen or occur. And you could pick it apart in a few different ways. First, I'd look at the bullish aspect. I'm excited to see how many tokens come off of Binance and into the little swap portal that they're going to have. I think that's a metric that we should be able to track. I'm not smart enough to figure out how to do that, but I'm sure that's what Patrick Ackerman's already figured out and those folks. And I'm excited to see the data on that when they do start to come out of Binance and into that swap portal. I'm assuming Voyager will have a little tracker right there on the portal. I'm hoping, at least. So I would consider that bullish. You're removing tokens from an exchange where people would be otherwise trading, and you're removing that impulse to sell, and you're placing it onto the swap portal, earning 7%. That's bullish. Neutral, I don't think that the marketing pool with the 40 million tokens has any impact at all on the price action in the short term. I see that as something that's going to drip into the market, and that pace of it dripping into the market is not at a faster rate at which they're growing. So if you think about the growth of Voyager, it's growing so fast that I don't see 40 million tokens over the course of a year or whatnot, being an issue at all for dilution. Not worried about that. The thing that I am worried about, or I do have concerns on with the swap, and maybe the three of us can talk through it on this live stream. And even people who are in the chat can help chime in if they know the answers to some of these questions. But I have a few questions, and they center around LGO token and swap deadlines. And then I think all of that really does play a huge role on what we should expect to see when the swap deadline does come or swap day does occur. So my first question would be, does anybody have any idea what the actual circulating supply of LGO is at this moment? Because CoinMarketCap has a totally different number than CoinGecko. And with that question, I'll lead into some more questions. But if somebody does know, I'd love to hear it. I think CoinMarketCap is showing 26% in circulation, while CoinGecko is showing 75-ish% in circulation. Huge differences. And I'll explain why I think it's a big impact based on which one is which. But do we know?
I don't think I don't think anybody knows. I think it's some guy who can't be found anymore who may know who originally did it. I also think that from an LGO token swap, people talk about a burn all the time with the VGX and all this. I think that there's a lot of inflationary mechanisms just organically built into it. You got to remember how old and useless at the time this token was. Okay, there's a lot of tokens that are out in circulation that no one will ever see. They're lost. They're not getting swapped. And so you got to take that into account, that the actual amount of LGO tokens that people were arbing with once the price factor was set and everything with the swap, there's going to be a lot missing, and it's going to create an organic inflationary mechanism so that we won't feel it. And even if it was 300 million as opposed to the 225 million or whatever, even that wouldn't have made much of a dent. I think it's going to be a nothing burger when it comes to the swap. And I think even with the VLP taking into effect, I think the price is already going to have that baked in to the most extent. I think people will naturally feel disappointed when nothing really traumatic happens with price action on the swap, and nothing really traumatic happens with price action on the VLP. That's not going to be the catalyst. I think the catalyst is going to be New York, Canada, Europe. I think those are the big factors. And I think when the first announcements of that come, and I think New York will be first, and I would predict it would be this fall, followed by Canada and then Europe. But when those chain of events happen, if people actually believe anything I say about the second leg going from September to end of December, I think the propulsion of DGX is going to be very accelerated through those announcements alongside the market. So
Alex, I think that's dependent though on when the VLP is timed. So if the VLP misses, it's not delivered on time. Historically, if you look at Bitcoin's chart, October, November are some of the best performing months in the history of Bitcoin. Sure. So I want it to come out October 1st. So
what's our date on the VLP?
What's that?
What's our date on the VLP?
Should be September, but
right. I think it's September. The first week of September, right?
Yeah. Steve said September 1st is the date the rewards from the loyalty program start coming out. So even if the interface isn't ready yet, you will start to get, the 7%, the extra referral bonuses, the cash back. So even if the UI isn't ready, rewards will start coming out to users on September 1st. So that is essentially the date.
So I actually don't think that is the important aspect of the VLP. I think having the visualization and the UI inside the app is what's going to impact VGX's price, if at all, because whether you're getting rewards or not, I mean, we've been getting rewards on VGX for different reasons right now, the 1% boost, etc. And we know what the rewards are that they're going to be. I think there's a huge portion of users that are on the app. They have no idea that there's a Voyager token. They have no idea what VGX means. And if you're able to present it in a way sort of like Amazon Prime, where if you shop on Amazon Prime, you know exactly what benefits you're getting by being a Prime member. It should be like that when you're using the app. If you're going to buy Bitcoin, oh, if you hold X amount of VGX, you'd earn this amount of interest on your Bitcoin. That's sort of
100% agree. I think it should definitely be highlighted.
Yeah.
It should be like a membership club. You download Voyager app, and hey, listen, these are the different levels of a Voyager you are and what you can attain. It's kind of like your, airline's mileage club. How many to the next thing? This is what's available to you. I totally agree with you. And I think that if the UI and the visualization of it isn't present, that could be a very big factor in it. I don't necessarily believe that the whole VLP has to be rolled out at once, and it won't be. It'll be trickled in. I know that just because of our own MLP, all these freaking initials. But the fact of the matter is you can't deploy it all at once, right? But at least as long as you give people the visualization of deployment and you highlight the benefits, to your point, Digital Doji, of having the VGX token, they'll double or triple their wallet holders.
Yeah, one question I do have for you guys, because obviously this is going to change the way the platform looks and operates. Steve has said this, that it's going to change almost all of it. So what if, from my understanding is that the reasoning behind Voyager's, again, kind of waiting for expansion into Europe, what if that is potentially them just wanting to launch the loyalty program? Because we know the system is scaled to accommodate for 6-7 million users, which is significantly above where they're at today. Now that we know that, again, Sunday, that wasn't rather like a normal platform issue. That was just, kind of one-off coding, high volume at once led to something. So what if potentially the main, bottleneck for expansion to Europe is just a loyalty program and then wanting to get that out before they expand?
I would find that doubtful. If I was to be in Steve's head, I think it's solely around the regulation framework and then getting acclimated to that so that they're set to go. The loyalty program is something that is great and people want, but it's also secondary to the company's mission, which is obviously execution, and that's where the money's made. So I think it's them just getting themselves ready for the different regulatory framework rather than waiting for a VLP rollout.
Interesting.
So on the token swap part, I would say that one of the biggest catalysts to the Voyager token is, and really the crypto market, of what impacts price. Little shout out to Trade the Chain and Sentiment, is the anticipation of what is to come. Just like what we saw in this 20% spike, the anticipation, I actually think it was Tesla and not Amazon, but the anticipation of the earnings report from Tesla, which I think Doji even, a lot of people mentioned it, but you trace that back to the last time Tesla gave their earnings report in April, is the same thing happened. We were talking about that yesterday or a couple of days ago. But also the last time when we saw Voyager spike up from $2 to $7, it was the news that came out that said, okay, the loyalty program is much improved. And they revealed this, and everybody got so excited of what was to come. People just started like, oh man, let's buy into it. Now we obviously had the benefit of a raging bull market and all that. Yeah. And right now we don't have that. But I think the tides are turning to where that's coming. And so we'll get through the month of August where it's kind of just gradually people getting more involved. You have the Cardano stuff and all that. But at the same time, and a lot of analysts are shifting to where they're saying Bitcoin, and Alex's show is pointing that out too, with CJ and Monty even talking about it today, who have been bearish for a while. Even Ryan is starting to get a little excited about it on the show. But you're starting to see, and Doji as well, it hopefully bullish or whatever, but I think the tides are turning, and then come September is the mark where that stuff is coming back, going for the fall. And if that happens, and the anticipation of the VLP coming, people aren't going to get rid of their tokens before that. Right now, people are still doubting that it's going to happen or that it's going to happen on time, but the anticipation will drive up the price. And I don't think that's sustainable. I think it'll drive it up and dip again until it comes full force. When those things get implemented, people understand it. They're educated in the app. The marketing is happening. But we're talking about going from, $2 to $10 and then $10 to 20 plus. I'm thinking 20 plus by the end of the year. And the driving force for that being what Doji's talking about, of all those things, the app changing, getting fresher marketing, people being aware of what the token is. But from $2 to $10 is actually really, really easy to do, because that happened back in February or March, when way less people were on the app, way less people knew what the token was and all that. Now people have known it's coming. They're just waiting to get back in. And if we have something in place, it's going to 1120.
Yeah. So this is kind of like the teaser that they gave us of what the UI might end up looking. And I don't know if you guys have some feedback on this, but I like that it actually kind of shows you your progress as to how much, VGX you own, how much more you need for the next tier, which I think is definitely going to be big. Making it very clear what, kind of tiers, what benefits you get from each tier, rather. So this kind of looks like what they might end up implementing, but beyond this, we still don't have too much clarity. But I'm very excited about this.
Yeah, I think it looks cool. And it was like I was mentioning with airlines, right? So I have my apps, and every time I check it, it gives me a little gauge on where I am getting to like platinum or premier or something like that. And that actually it's a very addictive thing, right? It's gamifying it. So I think this will help the company in the broad scheme of things. It'll show people visually where they're at always when they go on. It'll make them excited to either buy more VGX to hold to get to the next level, trade more, whatever. So I think it's great. I also agree with Kamikaze's comment on order of things right there. I think that's probably pretty much spot on. With the exception of the desktop. I've used the desktop since last year. And I think there's a lot of improvement that needs to go into it. But that's probably the least on their list of things to appease people with, which rightfully so.
One thing before we keep going here, I think I'm getting some feedback from someone. I don't know if someone's microphone is too close, but I kind of hear something in the background. But in addition to Kamikaze's comment here, Steve did say person-to-person crypto sending, like a Venmo of crypto, is what they're calling it, is on the list of the next 5 things that they plan on doing within, obviously, the loyalty program, debit card, expansion, desktop app. What do you guys think of that? And, how do you think that might impact their growth?
I'm just muting myself to make sure I'm not the guy with the feedback.
I don't think it's you, Alex.
I don't have a mic. It's on my computer. But
is it you, Doji? Do you have like a phone maybe on like a, I don't know.
I hear it myself though, so I'm hearing it as well through this. Maybe it is me. Same stand I used last time. So
Doji has a race car chair for he's cooler than us just in that regard.
Yeah, see that?
Yeah, I got it. Is hold out.
I gotta say, DJ's story gets funnier and funnier as time goes on. I love it.
Hey, I sold it all for crypto. I got a video on that.
Hey, regarding the swap, I did have one question too. I wanted to go back to that. So, we may not know how many are in circulation right now for LGO tokens, but I did want to figure out, of the tokens that aren't in supply, and this is important, of the tokens that are not in supply, they're minting 33 million or what odd tokens, correct? New VGX tokens. What I want to figure out is, of the non-circulating supply LGO, does that mean that whether it's 75% or 25%, whatever this non-circulating supply is, does that mean that those new tokens go to management, LGO management, or what happens to those tokens? And the reason that's important for swap day is obviously because, obviously we're very bullish on Voyager and we're not going to sell. But I want to know who's getting all those new tokens, and are they as bullish on Voyager? Are they going to sell? I don't know. And I'm not trying to FUD. It's a true question that I would really love to see if we could figure out as a community before the swap happens. And if we could uncover that, maybe it solves some of my concerns for the swap.
I think that's a valid point, man. I mean, we had a trading contest on exchange for our token, and I didn't get the yield farming pool up and running in time, which needed to be up and running by the end of the contest. So what did people do at the end of the contest who won cent tokens? They dumped, right? Because I didn't have the yield farming up for them to carry over and earn APY. So if you give people a reason to not be attached to the token, they're good. There's a great chance they're going to dump, no matter what they say. That's a great question you have. And if it was my thought process, I would hope that actually goes to Treasury at VGX or at Voyager. Because I don't know if anybody knows, but Voyager doesn't have Treasury.
I have a question. So is this going to Voyager directly? Because they have been paying that 7%, right, over the past couple of months for VGX.
Where do you think they get it? A lot of times, companies that don't have Treasury, they market buy in order to satisfy that. I don't know the exact specifics of what Steve and company do, but you got to remember that was an inherited token.
Yeah.
On the 33 minted tokens that you're talking about, are you suggesting that they will have the LGO tokens that are currently in circulation or that exist? They get swapped over to VGX 2.0 plus 33 million.
No. So of the 33 million, we know that the amount of LGO tokens that are in circulation, big difference. We don't know which one's right? We don't know if it's 25% or 75%. That percentage of new VGX tokens will go to whoever's holding the circulating supply of LGO, at a 6.6 to 1 ratio or 1 point, whatever that number is. What I don't know, though, and what I would love to have answered, maybe somebody knows the answer to this and can help. What happens to the percentage of non-circulating LGO tokens? Who receives those new VGX tokens? Is it LGO management? Do they go into some bucket that never gets used? Who's going to own those tokens? Because I think that's really important. And if it goes to 2 or 3 people, then it reminds me of Alex. You're going to love this. When CJ claimed that VGX had 5 whales or 10 whales or whatever it was, and I got all heated on Twitter about it. I need to apologize to him and to you. But it is a concern, right? If you've got 10 or 15 million VGX tokens that are going to be going into the hands of 3 or 4 people, I want to know about it. I think we should all know about it. So I would just love some clarity on it. That's all.
Absolutely. And that's where that opaqueness comes, right, between the token and the stock. So you get a lot of folks who are like, hey, why isn't the token going up like the stock is, or vice versa? I mean, one has nothing to do with the other. And there's not regularity to announcing things for the token. So you're right. We don't need to be told what's happening with the token. Hopefully there's some sleuths that can track that, and there always are. But if it does do that, that is a great concern to have, I think, Doji.
I think they get burnt.
I hope.
I think if I'm understanding it right, I think it's actually been addressed. Where are you talking about the tokens that are LGO that don't get converted?
No. So 33 million are going to be minted based off of the LGO supply.
Right.
And 33 million are minted based off of the total, my understanding is the total supply of LGO. Well, there's either 25 or 75% of those that aren't in circulation. So where are those VGX tokens that are being minted being passed out to? Are they?
But I think that's VGX 2.0.
Yeah.
And so if they don't swap, which it used to be a year time frame, and if they don't transfer over, I don't think it's like creating a new one. I think it's the 2.0 has to come from an LGO swap. Am I missing something?
Yeah. So what I mean is there's 33 million that are going to be minted, and that's based off of the 217 million LGO tokens that exist, right? My concern is what about the 100 million or 200 million? We don't know. It's like 160. It's either 160 million or 60 million of those tokens that aren't in circulation. So those tokens are going to convert at a 6.6 to 1 ratio or whatever to new VGX tokens. That's the portion that I want to know who gets it. I want to know, is it, I mean, and like you said, Alex, we'll figure it out. Somebody will track it and find out.
Totally.
But I'm just cautious. I want to know what that is, and I want to know what the number is and who owns it, because it would tell me a lot about what might happen on swap day.
I think if I had to guess, though, Doji, I think it's going to go to Treasury.
That'd be
I
nice.
think,
That
yeah,
would be
I
very
think
calming.
100%, because I think it's more prudent if the company does owe money for them to actually pay in fiat than to pay in tokens. And I think because that could get expensive because they got to pay all the rewards in tokens. So hopefully, and I think it will go to Treasury. And if I get Steve drunk and he tells me, I'll let you know.
Perfect.
We've talked about the token a lot. I just want to kind of shift it to a little. Obviously, there's two ways you can really bet on the Voyager platform, either by buying the VGX token or buying Voyager stock. So, maybe from you guys, which one or two do you own? Which one do you have more conviction in? And, potentially why? And I don't know if you want to go first, DJ
Alex
Crypto,
first.
or Alex. All right.
I own both, and but I own them both for the same reason. Even though the logic is off, I own the stock because obviously, people, product, community. I believe in the company so much and wholeheartedly. So intrinsic and tangible value of the company will be there to support the price of the stock on its way up. I love the token, and for the same reason I love the stock, although the token has no right to perform the same way as the stock. It's just a utility token. It's a reward token, but it doesn't matter. It makes you a part of the team. And so I believe in it just as much. And that's why I think there's going to be value creation in it, especially with everything that's happening.
Which one do you have more of?
I have more of the token. by a good multiple. Yeah.
I like when they have to hesitate before they answer, like, do I want to say this or not?
But I'm curious. I'm curious for everybody else on whether they own both, one or the other, and why they own them.
I've always been heavier into the token myself. I'm really bitter that I didn't jump into the stock whenever I saw it at 50 cents for about 4 weeks last year. So I've been reluctant to jump back in heavily, but I've been keeping an eye on it. I bought a little bit last week. I'm just picking away at it. You guys know me. I'm not fully bullish yet on the market. When October, November comes around, I think we're going to see a different market. But for right now, I'm preserving capital. I've got my VGX tokens. I've got a little bit of stock, and I wish I had more.
It's hard to get the stock. I think Fidelity right now is one of the few that offer it in the U.S. for U.S. people. So it's not as easy. So people, I think, naturally gravitate to the token because it's snap of a finger.
Yeah, I have both. I have my stock on Charles Schwab. I think I had to go through a process where I had to make some like $5 purchase or $10 purchase of a regular stock, and then I could go buy an OTC stock. And so I basically sold the other one once I could. Now that's the only stock that I have. I'm DJ Crypto, not DJ Stocko. So I definitely have more of the token, but honestly, I'm done with stocks because I don't like what is done to stocks. It's simply one mindset that controls it, whereas the token is both. You have a store of value, you have an investment type mindset, like you can treat it like a stock. People think of it like that, but the VGX token specifically, and like some others that I like, it does something for you. If I go buy that stock, I'm investing in the company because I believe in their assets under management and their growth and where they like all that? Yes, I do. So I put my money where my mouth is. If I'm going to tell people that I love this company, I'm going to buy some stock in the company because that's money where my mouth is. But for what I'm dumping money into, it's the token because it actually does something for me. It gives me benefit of other things that I own. It makes me more money on referrals. It saves me money on trade. It's going to connect to my USDC and debit card. I mean, that's the token, and that's what I want a lot of.
Daniel, are you surprised that the stock didn't hold up as well during the last, this downtrend? Because if you would have asked me 7 months ago, which asset would I rather hold during a downtrend or whatever, if you want to call it a bear market, God forbid anybody calls it that, right? But I would have expected the stock to perform or outperform better than what it has, and that's been a little surprising. What's your take on that?
When it comes to the stock, and this is something that I talk about so much, the market is trying to determine where volume is. When you look at over the past few months, it's been tracking Bitcoin, right? And originally we just thought the market was clumping that together, but it seems that there is quite a large correlation between average volume and the price of Bitcoin, to where, hey, we saw a massive downtrend, maybe spike in volume, but then we saw a slowdown in volume. So, the market, at least in my opinion, Voyager keeps executing. New funded accounts, new products, expansion, whatnot. But the market's just looking at where is volume, how is that affecting revenue today, and by the looks of it, that's why the stock has gone where it's gone. I'm still really optimistic about it long term, and I think now at these levels, you're going to have the tailwind of a potential recovery over some point, maybe the next half year, next year, along with the tailwind of total funded accounts. So, it's a thing that, once it's gone down, it's gone down. That's priced in, low volume, and there's only really room to improve. Whether it's still going to go down, who the heck knows? I'm not a wizard. No one's a wizard. No one can tell you where Bitcoin's going to go over the next few weeks, months, but when I bet on Voyager, it's a platform and a company that just continue executing. And hey, whatever the condition is in the crypto market, no one can control that. But I'm confident knowing that Voyager can execute within, whatever situation they're placed in. So, that's kind of my opinion. I'm much heavier in the stock than the token. So I guess I'm the odd one out here. Much easier to buy the stock than the token in Canada because we obviously don't have Voyager here. But, I find the stock a little bit more predictable in the sense that you can tie it to revenues and profits, which, again, somewhat you can tie to new funded accounts and whatnot. But, at the end of the day, I like both of them. I think they're both great bets. I think the VGX token, I love the aspect that it benefits you. Both hopefully longer term, in the sense of appreciation, but obviously the token with the different rewards. But both great assets to hold in my opinion. I'm not a financial advisor. I can't tell you to buy or sell a stock or crypto, but I like both of them. There's a reason I talk about them so much on the channel.
Are you tracking the comparison to the coin stock? Because
first of all, don't bring up the coin stock. I hate that stock.
I said before it came out, I have my roommate from college does a stock channel on YouTube, and I told him to short coin when it comes out, but I didn't know that I would be shorting the whole crypto market when I said that. But it seems to me to be following. It's almost like
it's all correlated. It's all correlated,
and I don't like that. But it makes a VYGVF a really good buy right now, but I don't like it. I don't like what that market does.
Also, I saw that somebody was mentioning about people are shorting VGX stock. I actually don't know if there's a borrow on VGX. So, folks, you can't just short a stock because it's a stock. I don't think there's any borrows on VGX stock. And if there are any borrows, the premium's probably like 25%, and no one would short it because they instantly lose money. So nobody's shorting VGX.
I saw it. You can actually look at short percentage, and it looks like there's a little short Voyager, not ridiculously high, but there is a little bit on the Canadian Securities Exchange. But at the end of the day, that, in my opinion, that's not
What's the percentage rate on that though? So the harder, so the more nascent, and I'm just saying this for folks, the more nascent or less active the stock is, the higher the percentages, and also with the risk of the company's balance sheet. So like you can get a stock like, let's say Hertz, for example. Short Hertz, I think percentage is 20% on top of your borrows. So you'd be paying such a premium on the short, it actually wouldn't make sense. And I think VGX, even though it went to such a nice price, it started off small. So I don't know what the float is. I mean, Daniel, you're the stock expert in Canada there, so.
Yeah, fully diluted count at Voyager is 172 million shares. Recent share buyback, get rid of 250,000. But that's the count. And I've looked at this, and from my understanding, it isn't that shorts that are driving down the price. It really is just the crypto market and the market just trying to kind of fit where Voyager's potential valuation is. But when you really think about it, it's just an opportunity. If the market's being short-sighted and they're pricing in where crypto volume is here today, it's just an opportunity to buy where there's a lot of FUD out there. And that's why you're seeing Voyager at these levels despite continued execution. Crypto prices went down, Voyager continued growing funded accounts. You got expansion into Canada, Europe, New York, new product launches, an amazing CEO. What more could you ask for? So, I'm long this stock. It's the biggest stock in my portfolio by a heck of a margin. It's like 40%, something like that. Either way, I like it. I guess most of us here are Voyager stockholders as well, but
he likes the stock.
Just remember, too, the volatility works in both directions, right? So, I mean, it's still up like 30x from that price it was at 8 months ago. So it's hard to complain. Voyager's done an outstanding job, and the only reason that somebody will be complaining potentially is if they bought in the last couple of months. Otherwise, you've made a ton of money, you're happy, and if you haven't yet, we'll see what happens. And not financial advice, but maybe you just need to wait a little bit longer.
Listen, I'll tell you an interesting story real quick. I was I think it was the fourth week of January, and I'm on the phone with Rob over at Digital Asset News. He's overserved himself, Bud Light. I've overserved myself some Napa wine, and we're on deck, and I'm like, listen, I'm gonna cover Voyager tomorrow. Like I'm gonna do like a VGX thing, and it was the first time I did it, and I go, I think this is going places. And he goes, and I just bought a big bag too, I think at 25 cents or something like that, 35 cents. And he's like, well, where do you think it's going? I go, well, check it out. And I'd been, doing metrics, Pat Ackerman just come on the scene. And so we had all these backroom conversations between a bunch of people. I'm like, I think this thing can go at least to $1, dude. Now, mind you, it's at like 25 cents. We're talking like $1, and I'm like, maybe $1.50 if we get really drunk. And so that was a big deal. We're talking the end of January, all right? Now, I think Rob and I started covering it a little bit more and more, and it went up, and we got Steve on a bunch of times, and it went up to $7, okay? And we were all flabbergasted, but that was really when like Metcalfe's Law kind of hit us. This is going places. The whole GME and Robinhood fiasco happened, and we were like, this is real. This is like going to be crazy. Like Voyager shut down and crashed, and we were like so happy. Everybody's complaining they can't trade. I was like, forget this. This is the catalyst for the future. This is what just took Steve and company to the next level. Automatically, they have to build for this now. So I think it's a big deal. I think Voyager is one of my it is my most bullish overall for the long term.
I think there's a big underappreciation for native tokens. what we saw BNB do was insane. And I know it's not an exchange token. People get bent out of shape when you compare them. But a native token that provides value, and no native token provides more value than the VGX token will provide. So if there's a boost in native tokens again, which I don't see why not, because people are going to be loyal to their own platforms, then the best one out there is the VGX token. And whenever that boom happens, just like we saw last year when it reached like 20,000% up over a year-to-year span earlier this year, like when the bull market returns or in the fall or winter again, like Doji's saying, whichever, then which token on that platform is going to lead the way? And I don't see any case for any other token besides maybe Cardano that people are all about because 70+% are staked. But the VGX token seems to be the best alt token to lead the way because nothing else has that value on the platform that will have over 1 million users by the end of the year, funded users by the end of the year. So,
yeah.
And not even to mention, like, you know, what Patrick's saying about the Metcalfe law is like we are so far below where that's supposed to be that if any market recovery happens and that catches back up, and I remember when the token flipped the stock as far as like the value goes. And if that happens and you have the stock at $30 or $40 again, I don't know. The numbers are there to make it happen if the market recovers. That's my opinion. I'm not a financial advisor. I just tell people to buy VGX, but that's my opinion.
Oh my gosh. All right. Daniel, can we talk about Daytona?
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead. Feel free.
It's your channel, man. You let 3 of us hijack it.
Yeah, I know. It's been a mistake.
You can control our mutes. So who here is going to Daytona? Oh wow. Okay.
I'm saying that Daniel's not coming.
Yes,
You'd have to quarantine in a hotel.
Well, you know, the US rules still on COVID are kind of overbearing for people out of the country. But yeah, so Daytona's coming up. 25th of August. It's a night race, which is always exciting. And if anybody doesn't know what the heck we're talking about NASCAR racing. But yeah, I think a lot of people have been hitting me up in the DMs and stuff on heading over to Daytona. So I think it's going to
sliding in.
Yeah, I think people are going to be filling the stands. I'm not sure. I don't know. I had a conversation with Landon and Steve on the phone earlier today, and we spoke about Daytona. So we'll see what transpires.
I'll be making the flight, whether there's a hurricane or not. I'm in it. Actually, I went down to this area last summer, right after the hurricane came in. I was going to go down to like the Destin area. The hurricane came in, and so I had to reroute to the other side of Florida. So I went actually to St. Augustine instead. So I was down there like right after that happened. I'm like, I've been there before. I could do it again. I'm not scared. We got tornadoes here. I've been through it.
And Daniel Rizza, I love Daniel Rizza. He's in the comments here. I never cared about NASCAR, but now all of a sudden I'm interested. It's just like I explained before, man. It's all community focused. That's what it is. Well, and product focused. NASCAR has a good product. Voyager has a good product. NASCAR is a great tight community. Voyager has a great community. We're hoping a bunch of NASCAR people jump over to Voyager.
Oh, I have a race day outfit I'm coming in. I'm going to look the part.
I'm scared now.
Yeah, it's a little scary.
Is that
I think I'm going to fit in
there. On the bed there?
What's that? No, that's like my nieces and nephews' clothes. I'm in their room for the night. Hey, that's what we do around here. We're family, community.
I love it. I love it.
I got a jean cutoff jacket, a vest. And I got some more. I got some more coming with that, but that's the only reveal I'm giving at the moment.
Dude, if you have like an 80s band logo painted on the back of that denim vest, that would be cool, like White Snake or something.
I might have some paint coming on the chest. Just say. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, you're gonna need to take a picture or something. Maybe one of you carry me around on like an iPad or a phone or something.
Yeah,
totally.
But I think on the Daytona stuff and just the NASCAR in general with Voyager, that does show, like what you're saying with the community. Once people attach to crypto, people attach back to it. So whether it's a company accepting it, like people wanted to buy Teslas 6 months ago, now they don't. But 6 months ago they did because they jumped into the space accepting it. And Voyager doing the car is like now people want to watch NASCAR who didn't watch it before.
100%.
And people are learning about like what's the Xfinity race, and they're researching into this, and I think there's a pretty cool plan in the future possible, and they're going to stay in it as long as you're loyal to crypto. Crypto people will be loyal back.
We're talking about marketing right now, man. All right, this is like
we did get a nugget last night. It flipped. We did get a nugget on the NFL. I tried to get him to slip up again, but he said that something with the NFL was coming. He wouldn't share what it was, but he did this little grin. I was like, "Hold up a second, tell us about that." He's like, "Nope, lips are sealed."
There's going to be NFL stuff coming. I can tell you that. I've already asked him numerous times if I can make a cameo in the Super Bowl ad. There's going to be NFL coming, but I mean, I still think racing, the racing community is the biggest, is the tightest community in sports right now for them to become Voyager customers, right? And that's what it's all about. I mean, shit. That's why we sponsor a race car. The community is very centric around its product. So just like crypto.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Voyager, like the approach they're taking right now currently is athlete marketing. So, partnering up with, a wide variety of different athletes, whether it be the NBA or NASCAR, maybe baseball and now maybe the NFL. But I think BK was talking about like potential TV ads, Google ads, which Steve did. He mentioned that they are planning on launching an actual advertising campaign at some point in the near future. He told me that a little over a month ago. But how did you think that approach might differ from something like athlete marketing? And is it a positive?
I mean, so I've spent a lot of time speaking to Steve about the different sports and athlete marketing. And then I had a chat with Simon Yu over at StormX about the Portland sponsorship and partnership they did over there. Just trying to figure out like what's in their mindset and stuff. But when it comes to, first of all, Google Ads, we used outside external advertising agencies as well as like I believe Voyager does as well. And we're still all blocked from Google Ads. We can't do Google Ads because where our position is in crypto. And I think that's coming to an end soon. As far as a commercial, I think Voyager, listen, if Voyager doesn't do a commercial with their new ad budget coming out for next year particularly, I don't know. I think they're going to do a killer commercial. And just, I want to see that. I want to see Steve star in that. I want to see Steve like drive our race car through McDonald's drive-through or something and start pitching Voyager.
Are you guys familiar with because Steve was obviously back at E-Trade, like the baby commercials with E-Trade?
Best advertising campaign ever. If no one has ever seen the baby commercials for E-Trade, they came out in 2009, 2010. Google them. Watch every single one. I'm sure you do as them. They're so hilarious that baby will make you fall in love all over again.
Yeah, I mean, Steve is obvious. I mean, I think he actually correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he hired the marketing personnel from E-Trade to come over to Voyager. So, on that front, I think Voyager's going to kill it, but it's an exciting growth prospect.
Dude, if Steve resurrects the baby for Voyager ad, that's a whole different level. You can expect 10x on the token with the first ad right there. If he resurrects the baby.
I'm trying to pull one up. Listen, there's so many. I don't even know which one to click.
We got a guy who puts Steve's face on like GIFs and videos and stuff. I'm going to message him to put Steve's face, like that face swap thing,
on the baby ad
and start sharing. That's going to be good.
Oh my God. Yeah. Best ads ever. I think there's going to be a lot of cool stuff coming from Voyager ads.
Try this? I don't know. Let's see.
Do it.
Let me know if you hear audio.
A lot of people are like, "Aren't you too young to invest?"
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, it's not talking.
I just look.
Yeah. We're good.
All them. And B, I use E-Trade. Check it quick. Buy stock. You just saw me buy stock. No big deal. I mean, if I can do it, you can do it. Whoa.
Oh, I cannot wait to see Steve's face on that.
I haven't seen that for 10 years, man. That is like one of the best ads right there.
It's happening tonight. I got to message the guy.
Oh my God.
Oh, it'd be hilarious. When it comes to marketing, there's so many different places that Voyager can go to, and just think about the growth they've experienced up until now. That's pretty much all been from just referrals, right? That's all been organic. Think about it once they start launching their ad campaign. I mean, they have, I'm assuming at this point, well over $100-200 million based off of how profitable their business is. Steve said they're spending as much money as they can on marketing, and I'm excited to see what happens here, but definitely another growth vertical for that.
Yeah, it'll be huge.
Hopefully Steve watches this. Yeah, we all have to tweet him. Everyone, okay. Bring back the E-Trade baby.
Bring back the E-Trade. We need it to be the Voyager baby.
The Voyager baby.
Hashtag Voyager baby. That's what we.
I've seen plenty of Voyager babies lately, but that's another story.
Oh, that's funny.
If you guys have any questions, by the way, drop them in the comments section. Yeah.
Doji, you were about to say something about 5 minutes ago. What were you about to say?
Oh, I can't remember. I do remember the E-Trade commercial, though. Those were classic.
We all got distracted by that.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry,
I was
Doji.
going to say something about the marketing. There's going to be 40 million tokens available for them soon. So that's a whole marketing pool right there, and they're going to figure out how to deploy that. And if you think about VGX, what I get excited about in the future is if you consider they have no reason to allow or to want the token to go down in value, right? So I'm not saying they're going to try to drive the value up, but if the token goes up to $10, they have 40 million tokens no matter what. So think about the marketing budget that means if the token value is going up. It gets better. So
A couple of questions. I see like Trading Solutions very adamant about this, and I agree. There's a good point. LG owners getting roughly over 15 million VGX tokens. Are they going to dump on swap day, and what's stopping them? 15 million. Let's say price is $2, just round numbers, whatever. 30 million bucks. Let them swap. The slippage is going to be 30 million to its market cap right now. That's liquid. Is going to be like, I think, max 12% if someone did that all at once, and a price impact of probably maybe 6.5 to 8%. So it's not going to hurt the order book, as it's not going to crash the order book. They want to do it, they can do it. I don't think they'd be able to get those market orders out in time, doing it all at once. And have I changed my end of year price prediction? Originally $50. My end of year price prediction was 30 to 50 bucks, very broad strokes. But I did change it. I changed it to $35 to $45. So I took $5 off the top and I upped $5 on the bottom. That can change the second week of September. depending on where the market is, then based on my second leg up scenario.
Someone just said, oh, here, Steve just tweeted apparently some hint. I'm going to share this just so you guys can see. I don't know. Someone commented this in the, here we go. Looking at something. Oh, so is this just a, oh, it's not a piece of news. Someone's, I thought this was some sort of,
Talking about getting pizza slices before the rest down.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's where my heart is. I want some food, so.
Yeah, okay, Justin. Okay, yeah. All right.
Yeah, we're thinking like, oh, Portal. No, pizza.
Yeah, I mean, we should be getting some form of portal, right? I mean, I think it's 2 weeks before the actual swap that the portal should open up. So that is anytime, I want to say before Friday. Maybe they do it on a weekday, maybe they do it over the weekend, but
yeah, it's now. It said approximate 2 weeks ago. It could happen anytime.
Anytime now. So
approximate 2 weeks before the 9th.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm as avid as anyone because yeah, no, because this will allow international people to actually get 7% on their VGX, right? Because right now I'm just holding it, right? And not much I can do, but you connect it with your MetaMask, bam, you get 7% yearly. So also a potential incentive for international users in Europe or Canada who don't have access to Voyager yet to start accumulating tokens because you can start to get some of the benefits. So
get an interest.
Exactly. There was one question earlier about uplisting to the Toronto Stock Exchange for the actual stock. No,
it's going to be on the NASDAQ.
No, but Steve has said that it's going to be the Toronto Stock Exchange first from the CSE.
I would say that it might hop the TSX. To be honest with you,
it's just that Steve said previously that uplisting to the TSX would happen by the end of July. He's said that in interviews before. So he's got a few more days. I know we got that swap announcement. Last day of June, right? So,
Alex, are you telling us something?
I don't know.
TSX, yeah, the TSX is they have to sign off on the TSX before swapping over to NASDAQ. So yeah, it's going to happen, but I would, and this isn't from any inside information, just knowing that Voyager is going for NASDAQ. So just it would be ceremonious. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
For TSX listing before the swap over to NASDAQ.
How soon?
I would say the NASDAQ listing is this year.
Like imminent this year?
I gotta get Steve drunk, and then even then it's hard.
there is this. I remember seeing a tweet by Voyager. Steve is going on CNBC tomorrow, so
I don't know. The NASDAQ.
No, but hey, maybe uplisting to TSX, maybe to talk about the loyalty program. Heck, maybe it's just him talking about Voyager as a platform. But it's good to see him on these major networks because no doubt it gives exposure to Voyager as a platform, going on Fox Business, CNBC, Bloomberg, and it's been a bit of time since he's gone on one. So yeah, I think it's tomorrow morning. So make sure to tune into that.
I think it's been since July 7th when he's last on CNBC.
Yeah, no, I miss covering those interviews.
Yeah, he's getting 3 to 5 minutes, ask him crazy questions.
Yeah, but it's good that he goes on CNBC. Not a lot of people do that from the crypto space, but he obviously has that traditional pedigree. For a lot of people that don't know, he founded Lightspeed Financial, which was HFT equity shop, and it was famous in the hedge fund space. That's how I first knew about Lightspeed, was because of Steve. And then not only that, people were like, oh, he was with E-Trade. He wasn't just with E-Trade. He was the CEO of E-Trade wealth management, wealth trading. So big deal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd say he
hopefully-
knows some people.
Yeah, hopefully he does have more than 2 minutes though, because that has seemed to be a bit of a trend. Like they asked him one question about El Salvador, and then all of a sudden he's gone. So
Hey Alex, what's the sentiment been like on Trade the Chain with all this action in the last 8 to 10 days? Because I've been wondering. I used to use Trade the Chain. I loved it. I actually liked it as a shorting mechanism because I would see some of the communities get so amped up, and I would love to kind of counter that with the when I was using it. But I would love to know like what you've seen on Trade the Chain as far as Bitcoin and some of the other. I mean, I guess Bitcoin is really the most important thing right now.
Let's pull it up. Good old VGX.
Sure.
All right. Do a little screen sharing. So that's what the
I'm gonna pull it up here. Sorry, because I have to add
no,
it.
no worries.
There we go.
There we go. We got the sentiment, the 7-day, zooming into the 1 day. It's actually been right here. I mean, it's been pretty neutral, which is expected. I mean, I don't think one of the things is there's very few alts outside of DeFi right now that are accelerating price action because Bitcoin is. So you got to remember when Bitcoin overheats and comes back down, that money will bleed out of Bitcoin and go directly into alts and propel them. So I still think that we're getting a little bit of a barrier push headwind with Bitcoin in the coming weeks. Obviously, I think we're lasting all through August in the sideways trading or at least range bound. And I don't think we're going to see much price action. It's at $2 flat right now, Voyager, but I don't think we're going to see much price action on Voyager until the end of August. But it's what happens after September 1st that I think is getting me excited. And I think that run from September 1st going through Thanksgiving and bleeding into the first half of December is going to be 3 times as quick as it was going from the end of January into March. So,
did you guys see the psychic that predicted the 2 dates on the crashes of the market? And then the third tweet that she had sent out, December 28th is apparently like the day you need to just get out of the market altogether. So she's nailed the first 2 so far, and the last one is December 28th. I don't know her
December 28th. Dude, I'm telling you, that's the end right there. I believe that.
That's the greatest day ever for USDC.
I'm doing my last YouTube show December 27th.
Yeah, I'm getting off as well. Maybe she's the wizard we were talking about earlier. Who knows? I have a question. I actually lost the comment here, but there is a chance Voyager ends up making some form of acquisition. They have freed up some capital to do so. And at least personally, I look at Market Rebellion as a potential acquisition because of their stake in Voyager's stock trading platform. So I'm not sure, Alex. We've discussed this, and if you can't talk about it, that's completely fine. Do you have any clue what a potential valuation of Market Rebellion is?
Yeah, I mean, John Nigerian over there, Market Rebellion, one of the founders, he's on CNBC doing his show every day over there. Great friend, soon to be neighbor next to me. Market Rebellion is, I don't know that that's an acquisition. I think now, if anybody doesn't know the quick backstory, Pete and John Nigerian started Option Sponsor and Trade Monster. And it was an educational and brokerage firm for options trading, the traditional side, and they sold that to E-Trade, ironically enough, in 2016 for $750 million. They then went on to start Market Rebellion, which everybody sees CJ and Monty on my show every day from, and they've just so they've done a series of things. Last year, they took a strategic investment from Pete and John and from Market Rebellion. And just a couple of months ago, they announced their partnership into brokerage. So I don't know if it's so much as an acquisition as it's going to be a long-term relationship.
Okay.
And we'll see. So, right now it's a very copacetic marriage between them. They're going into the brokerage business together. So who knows? What is that? What would some telltale signs of the Nigerians and Voyager going into the brokerage business be? Well, let's talk about traditional equities and fractional ownership of shares alongside the crypto on the app. That would be something I would guess. I don't know. They haven't told me.
Yeah. I mean, either way, I'm excited for this partnership because they're obviously, just the community they have behind them are awesome for Voyager. They're the traders, the one that they're going to get on the platform and actually use it on a regular basis. So, and on top of that, it's obviously a platform heavily involved in the trading space and in the potentially making it something much better than potentially even Voyager could do. So, we still don't have clarity actually on what the percentage split is between that entity, but what happens with that. But it's
all I know is that come Indianapolis race, Market Rebellion will have a car on the track, and the Trade the Chain Voyager car is going to kick their butt. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah,
all that matters.
And the Dogecoin will crash.
Yeah, I was on the phone with the Dogecoin car today.
Totally safe. No one's harmed. Just saying, the tire might fall.
The tire might fall.
Thoughts on Tether? I don't know. That's a comment here. Had a negative stablecoin sentiment.
Stake it for 20%. Why not? Just kidding. I don't have any.
Yeah, me neither.
I used to transfer it over to KuCoin to buy stuff like BNB stuff because Binance won't register me still, so I gave up. I do Binance stuff through KuCoin, and I would transfer it over there because there's a lot of pairings, but that's the only reason I would use Tether is to trade it.
Yeah.
But
all right.
USDC all the way.
Oh, for sure.
I think they are making up a lot of the news, though. I think they're making up a lot of nonsense because it's easy to target, but I don't really believe the news on it.
Yeah. Do we have any?
Tether, I mean, stable coins are so tribal. And so just on the institutional side, Asia will never stop using Tether. It's 99% of the stable coin, just like the US is USDC or, Gemini or something like that. And Europe is Binance coin. I mean, Tether is not going away. I use Tether 99% of the time myself in stablecoin. It's just the most easily transacted and accepted stablecoin from the global community.
So you use it to trade. You don't store it.
I use it to pay people. I use it to trade. If I was a store, well, come on, USDC on Voyager app, people.
That's right.
Get that 9 to what? What is it? Digital Doji, like 11%, 10.5%?
Yeah, I think it's 10%, right?
Yeah, but they list an APR, which is different than anything I've ever seen for an account. Deposit account usually is APY. So it's a bit higher. I believe it's 9.38% APY.
I wish people just did that. Doji, I wish people just said APR all the time. Get rid of this APY crap.
There's only one other scenario I've seen APR, and that's Coinbase's Ethereum payout is an APR. Everything else is APY. So I don't know why it's denounced in that way, but it is. So
yeah.
Do you see that going up if interest spikes? Because it used to be 6% a few months ago.
I think USDC rate falls gradually over time. I don't think we see it go up. I hope.
What made it go from 6 to 9? Just competition?
Yeah.
Well, it's the market. So like we do sec lending on prime brokerage, right? And we have one day we could have BTC on the borrows for, let's call it 6.5%, 7.5%, and then all of a sudden the market tanks, and say from 60K to 30K, and BTC borrows go to like 2.5%, 3%, but USDC will do exactly the opposite. All of a sudden, cash is king because the market's down, where Bitcoin was king when the market's up. So it's all market related.
So do you think it'll go up for any reason, Alex?
I don't think it'll peak over say 12% in the dire straits market. Where's Alex on the? I'm pretty neutral right now. I mean, that Rob meter, I'm like only halfway, to be honest with you.
How is Polkadot getting 12%?
I think that it might be at a loss. Who the hell knows?
That's like one of those stores, dude. Like what do they call them where you have a loss to get people in?
There's a couple platforms offering. There's Voyager's offering 12%. I want to say Kraken is offering 12% on DOT. But remember, Voyager's APR, so it's really 12.68% if you're being picky with it, apples to apples. And then there's like a plethora of other exchanges that are offering 8%, 6%, you name it. So they must have some staking mechanism that's able to pay out the interest rate.
My thought process behind this is that, in addition to that, Bitcoin, Ethereum rates locked for the remainder of the year. But what if they sometimes maybe, switch it up, lower the interest on something, raise it on something else, take it out of their own pocket? I mean, there's a lot of different places you can go with this, but it's a great marketing tool for them to get people on the platform. Just seeing that interest, and
that's what happens when you raise a lot of money. You get to have that loss lead, as Crypto was explaining. But that's land grabbing, and that's what you do. And people say, "Hey, where's the marketing on Voyager?" That's marketing. Right? If they're going to lose, $2 for, every $5 they bring in, so be it. At the end of the day, that's why they raise money, and they're going to have more customers than everybody else.
Yeah.
Dot's one of the only tokens on the Voyager app that is less than the January price. And that really got me pumping some money into it, because they went from 9% to 12%, and it's lower than the January price. So even with all the dips, like even the VGX token was at $1 in January, we're not getting anywhere close to that. But it was like $13 to $15 in January on DOT, and now we've been lower and still lower, I think.
Oh, it fell ridiculously. The thing was over like $40. I mean, it's crazy, right? I mean, it's just the market, right? Nothing happened badly with Polkadot. It's just crypto going down, giving some opportunities.
It's a weird name, Polkadot.
It's a catchy name. All right.
I'm going to wear a polka dot dress. I mean, a shirt.
There's been a lot of comments coming from you, DJ Crypto, tonight that have made me question this whole thing.
Hey, you're just scratching the surface.
I love it. I love it. You're a good egg.
All right, guys. We've been going for an hour and a half at this point. Thank you all, so much for tuning in. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe button, and check out all these guys' Twitter, Trade the Chain, YouTube channels, all linked in the description down below. And, thanks, Alex, so much for coming on. Great to see you.
I have a spoiler for you. I have a spoiler for you guys. I told them I was going to call them out. No, I'm not going to do NASDAQ. But when's the next VGX round? Or you have one next week, Voyager Roundtable?
Probably like the 10th, I think, or somewhere around there.
Wait, that far away?
It's like
dude, can't you guys do one next week impromptu? I already got your guests lined up.
All right, we'll do it.
Yeah, we'll do it.
All right. I got Landing Castle will be on next week with you guys. I told him I was going to call him out tonight, and he said it was okay. And so next week we'll get that done. He's going to be your surprise guest, which isn't a surprise, I guess, anymore.
Awesome.
Sorry.
All right.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, we should switch to weekly. What's the point doing it every 2 weeks if Voyager keeps pumping out all this news?
Doji, man, he's about to get married. I'm telling you, she's going to nix it.
All right. Thank you, Alex, so much for coming on. Great to see you guys again. And yeah, let's end it off there. Thank you all so much for watching.
Showing up.
Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.